wanted to, we thought that
You talk about the way you guys fought down the stretch there. Down to 20 points in the second half, and we got it to 2.
Yeah, I mean, I think we just stayed at it. Obviously, not the result we wanted, but I think it was a good fight. So I think
It's encouraging for you to have a couple of huge offensive games in a row now. Now that you're in the most important time of the year.
yeah, you can say that. I mean, I'm really focused on wins and losses, so it's a tough day today. I think that's a game that we should have won, a team that we could definitely beat. So yeah, it's just tough.
Caleb, in February up until today, you guys have been great defending the three-point line. And tonight, obviously, Plummer hit some tough ones, but some of them were open too. What I guess, went awry with the three-point defense tonight, do you think?
I'm not too sure. I feel like we got to go over that, go back to the drawing board, and then, coaches and the staff, let go over that with us tomorrow. Just kind of see what we can learn from. Obviously, he was real hot coming to this game. I think he went 8 for 10 against Ohio State. He's a real good player, but yeah, just making adjustments and seeing where we kind of went wrong.
You guys brought it to within 4 here. Line into the lab. It seemed like there was contact. Did you feel there was any contact there for it to be foul?
Can I get the next question? I mean, it was basketball. They're going to make some calls. They're going to not make some calls. Just got to keep on playing. I feel like I should have made the later pass.
Talk about the way Devante played in the second half, kind of leading that rally for you guys, it seemed like.
No, it was real good. Just him being aggressive, shooting when people went under the screen, pushing the ball, going at Bateman off the ball screen. Looked like a pro out there, so just controlling the game. So it was real good to see.
Seemed like from up high, he was like really hungry too. I mean, I guess what was he saying stuff in the huddles? What did you see? Maybe an extra level from him?
I mean, I think he was just calm. He was calm, but also aggressive. And both ways, getting other people involved as well as getting himself involved. So,
And was it difficult to think about things one game at a time as we get closer and closer to the end of the season, and you probably got to win at least a couple more to get to where you want to get to?
No, I mean, you just got to stay focused. On the next game, I feel like everything will take care of itself. You just got to focus on what's coming up, and then eventually you're going to get to the point where you want to, you know what I mean? So we just got to stay focused, stay locked in on the next game, which I think is Michigan State on Tuesday, and then just go from there.
Has there been any talk about like the seeding or the bubbles or anything like that?
No.
You like it that way?
Yeah, I don't really know too much about all that stuff.
Sure.
Phil Martelli said that Kofi against Tanner would be like King Kong versus Godzilla. From your vantage point, what was it like seeing them battle down there?
No, it was good. Definitely two, like the league's best big man going at it. So I think it was good basketball. I think they both played well.
You guys did the 3 games in 5 days stretch a couple weeks ago. I guess what's the key to not letting maybe one loss lead to another one, or letting fatigue pile up?
Definitely, like, get your recovery, sleep, cold tub, all that stuff, stretching, and then I feel like you gotta just learn from your mistakes in the other games, and then you gotta also move on. Like once the day's over, I feel like you gotta move on to the next game, win, lose, or draw. You got another opponent coming up next, so just getting ready for them and preparing for them.
Did you learn anything about the rivalry with Michigan State? Last time you guys played them as a freshman, your first taste of it.
I mean, I just think it's a real physical game. Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing I took away from it. It's a real physical game, and like both sides very passionate. So yeah, that's probably the biggest 2 things.
It was Coach Martelli's first post-game message to you guys as the acting head coach after a loss. I guess what was his demeanor like? What was kind of the message for you guys going forward here?
He was just real calm. Just told us, stay together. We walked into the game together. We're gonna walk out together. So he was just real calm, real confident. And yeah, he was just real calm. So that's all I did.
It's all about us getting our film, staying locked in for the whole 40 minutes instead of just 20. I feel like being locked in 20 minutes, you're not going to win this league.
Tuesday night against Michigan State was already going to be a big game. Does this add to it coming off a loss?
I mean, yeah, probably, yeah. Knowing that we need this win, probably a big game for us. So, I know that the environment, the energy going to be very high, so that's going to boost us for sure. It's a game that we've been ready for. Now we're just going to getting the film, recover, and just be ready for that game coming up to the night.
Is there a sense of urgency against Michigan State? And then what'd you take from that experience up in East Lansing?
It's definitely a sense of urgency. I feel like in East Lansing, we didn't play how we supposed to play, especially myself. So coming in Tuesday night, I'm coming in being aggressive, looking for my teammates, especially looking for Hunt, looking for Eli, just those guys. I feel like this is a revenge game for us, just with the history of both teams. So it's definitely gonna be an exciting one.
How fast are you guys gonna try to put this one behind you and focus on Michigan State? Was there anything said post game? Are you guys gonna let this soak in for a little bit and then look at the film?
We really ain't got time to let it soak in, honestly. It's a quick turnaround, so we gotta get right to we're gonna watch probably a little film on with the correct, just in case we see them again. But we like right to Michigan State, that's our next opponent Tuesday night, and like I said, it's a quick turnaround.
You mentioned if you see them away again, the team needs to change things up defensively. What went wrong with today's game plan defensively?
I would just say probably just me and all the other guys we was talking how we didn't do it like a good enough job just containing the ball screen with Capello and Trent Frazier. I feel like we put Hunt in a bad spot, because Trent came down with so much space and you got Kofi rolling, so that's just a difficult spot for Hunter. So I just feel like me, and the other guards, we got to just make adjustments with how we're gonna guard the ball screen.
3 games in 5 days. The storyline's going to be how difficult it is for you guys. But what do you see as a positive?
I see opportunity, for us to shock the world. I know a lot of people gonna feel like it's gonna be a tough, stretch for us, see us winning. But me being one of the leaders of this team, telling my teammates, do whatever I gotta do to focus, get that recovery, watch film. Try not to be on social media as much because we got locked in because these next games are very important for us.
Some of those plays you made in the second half, do you feel like those are plays you would have been confident enough to make earlier in the season, or do you feel like you maybe can assert yourself a little bit more at this point in the season?
Honestly, no, because I feel like beginning of the season, I was still trying to figure myself out. I was trying to just understand how I feel those, high-level guys that I never played with, my college career. So now I'm comfortable with the team I got. They comfortable with me making those type plays. So I feel like everything coming together.
I think so. I mean, obviously, lapses here and there.
Thank you.
There's way too much. There's just no fucking way. It's just like, I mean, you can't
Waiting
draw
for the
things that
coach,
well.
so please be patient.
This is like a Disney novel. You just know it. It's a deal breaker. You nailed it.
Sorry, closing the call down. Thank you.
That just writes itself.
But we gotta ask a couple questions about Michigan State.
So 3 games in 5 days, they called it enough to just shock the world. Is that seriously you guys share the team with the types of things that you
Yeah, definitely. Take off 3 games we're playing. So we all of me. Anybody else need a book?
I'm just wondering, like, you come out into like young center, I haven't been over there. That's where the draft is.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
I want that. He's a lifer. I put in my 10. I'm just saying, whoever is.
That's a snarl in life.
It's that.
We got a snarl. Fundamental.
Give me what I need.
Anybody on this side?
Excuse me for a second.
I think that when you play at this level, you know, all those, like for the young guys that played Sunday afternoon, national TV, nationally ranked team, that's really why they come to Michigan. And so to have that opportunity, I hope that they do that. And then when you get into a competition of this level, play to the point of exhaustion. And I don't have a second thought saying, well, you know what, we didn't really exhaust ourselves. So we have been saying that since last Sunday. It's together. We walked in here together. We walk out of here tonight, and we weren't good enough, right? We weren't good enough. And trailed for 40 minutes. And defensively, we seem to be chasing for a lot. Maybe the last 8 minutes, we stopped chasing, and we were able to dig our feet in and play. So it has nothing to do with an individual player. It has nothing to do with the players. That is squarely on my shoulders in terms of, okay, what nugget did I leave out in preparation? Because their speed in the first half, coming off the dribble handoffs, had a dramatic impact on us. And that's where I just felt, man, we're really chasing this game and not settled in. So tomorrow, expect everybody to be wide-eyed and clear hearts and get ready for the next challenge Tuesday night.
Steve, you want to start us off? Look, can you talk about Devante Jones and what he gave you in terms of both heart and game?
Well, I think Devante, the last several weeks, and certainly in this last week, has been very connected with Howard Isley, very connected with me. His eyes are expressing what's in his heart, that he is looking for these opportunities and these challenges. And again, I salute Howard Isley because we felt that with Kofi in a dropped coverage and the way they pressure up on the ball, that there would be an in-between game. So it wasn't like Devante had to get by his guy and then go into a crowd. We felt that if he could get leverage on his man, he would be able to play the in-between game. And I thought he did it extraordinarily well. And, walking up to the foul line, 7 for 7. Yeah, it's nice to know. And I think that Devante's improved play, Frankie was better. Frankie was better in a short period of time. And what was it, 31 points from that position. But just the play, there was real rhythm to our offense because of our point guard play.
Illinois' backcourt seemed to be very productive tonight. Obviously, Eli and Devante take pride in two-way play. What do you think went wrong there?
I think that's an interesting way to word a question, like what went wrong? They get scholarships, and they were scholarship players. I don't mean that smart ass. I just they are very prolific scorers and three-point shooters. And again, that's on me. I didn't give them enough information, and I needed to be more insistent with them on certain actions that we wanted, because it wasn't an inside-out offense, right? They didn't throw the ball into the second half. They were more attacking us from the perimeter, and we had too many times where the ball was not controlled nor contained, and it starts with the ball. So when the ball goes to different spots on the floor, those guys are good players, and they showed it to everybody here today.
Bill, you said you didn't think your team played to exhaustion, right?
No, they did.
Oh, you did?
Everybody,
Okay.
everybody. And that's just not players, but staff is.
Okay, I want to make, so you
Yes.
said you don't have a second thought saying that they did play to exhaustion.
No, second thought, no. My first thought is that
Okay.
everybody here, including the fans, I think everybody's.
Okay.
I think everybody's tired.
Yeah.
And that's okay. It's okay to be that way because that's what competition is about.
And now the next game obviously was big regardless. Now it really becomes even bigger, I would think, against Michigan State?
I think it's the next game, so it's the biggest game of the year, right? And then I think when we catch our breath, then Thursday will be the biggest game of the year. But I've never been one to say this game, that game, the next game, right? So our intention and our preparation is to win the next game. It happens to be Michigan State on Tuesday night.
Hey, Phil. Devante and Caleb both said that the reason you guys haven't been able to find consistency really is because the Big Ten's a super tough league. I guess, how do you get your performance to a level where you can win games consecutively against Big Ten teams night in, night out?
Practice. I think you have to win every practice, right? And then you You have to live by the mantra that we have, that 1%. So when we come in tomorrow, we may not get a lot physically done, but can we get 1% better? Is there can a guy come in and get extra shots up? Do we as coaching staff and me, well, you know what, maybe I have to give them one more wrinkle defensively. So it's just the next day, improving every single day. And that idea of consistency, I'm not in favor of consistency, because that means you stay the same. What we want to do is go on a climb, right? But we don't want to be a rocket. We just want to climb each step, each day. And so it's all about the practice, whether it's the physical nature of practice or the mental portion of an individual's practice or the collective team practice.
Well, it seems like there's a fine line between, the Big Ten contenders and then like that next tier of teams. When you study the film of this game, will there be things you point out to your guys, like these are the little things that they did, that we need to do that can get us to that level?
We would do that every single time, So I think I mentioned they had an out of bounds basket in the first half where I was right there. We had no communication. That's a fine line, right? They rebounded a missed free throw, right? It's a fine line. So what was it? Was it there should be more verbiage from the coaching staff? Should there be more verbiage from me to say, make sure you get your block out? Our out of bounds, our baseline out of bounds was not as crisp. And there were things we thought we could get out of baseline out of bounds. We weren't crisp enough. So those kind of things, I don't think it's a separation. I don't think it's a separation of haves and have-nots, or middle of the pack, the top. But it's what we desire to be, and we desire to be a championship team. Championship teams, take every advantage, and we didn't do that tonight.
Michael? Phil, in what ways did the defensive challenge change in the second half when they started throwing it more inside as opposed to attacking you from the perimeter?
Well, he's just such a force, and it makes the court smaller. But even throwing it inside, I think if we go back and look at the dribble by, right? People dribbling past us, what in our terminology, which are blow-bys, that had as much of a negative impact on us as them throwing the ball inside. We are what we are on the interior. We don't have great rim presence. We're not, I believe, and I could be wrong, I think we're last in the Big Ten in block shots per game. If we're not 14, we're 13 in that area. So we have to improve on that. And even if you leave your feet and give some resistance when he's kind of going into his thing. But I think the other part of not just throwing it inside, they were dribbling the ball past us.
Thank you.
Caleb Grimda missed that first, the one with 15 minutes to go, because that would have cut the lead to 4 or whatever, but then come back later and hit almost an identical shot with 2.5, whatever. I don't know if that happens earlier in the year. Has he, how is he doing, I guess, shedding his conscience, if you will, about missed shots and things like that?
We had an interesting conversation this morning when we were watching film. And I said, the only guys that can get dressed for this game are shot makers. And they kind of I go, you all think you're shot makers. but what you really are is shot takers. And I'm not just saying our players, every player in every locker room throughout this country at every level of basketball. I'll shoot it. Yeah, but you gotta be a shot maker. And somebody would say, well, that seems to put increased pressure on him. But I don't see it that way. I think that if you're not raising up to make a shot, then don't take that shot. And Caleb is a shot maker. He came in here as a shot maker. He's worked his tail off. I mean, everybody here knows he's a kid that's coming in and shooting once, twice a day and then practicing. And Howard Isley is putting him in positions. Juwan never told him not to take a shot, nor any of them not to take a shot. And we've just carried that on to say, shoot it, man, shoot it. And mix and make it every once in a while.
Phil, to the earlier point about playing to the point of exhaustion, this team's been pretty resilient this year. Do you feel like there's enough in the tank now for what you've got coming the rest of this week?
Absolutely, positively. Absolutely, positively. The character of the group doesn't change because you lost, right? And the whole word for this stretch of time is together. So it's together. Now, I will say this because I know who I am. The brilliance of Juwan and the brilliance of Howard Isley in that this is really like a league schedule, right? You play a heck of an opponent, you empty your tank on a Sunday, and Tuesday night you got to come back and do it again, then Wednesday. So how do we practice? And can we get into the mental part, and will that carry over to the physical? I think one of the things that I've learned, and I'm going to, we make great use in this program of the day of the game. A lot of people like check a box. We did a shoot around. We did a walkthrough. But here in this program, because of the leadership that's in this program, we're still making tweaks. We're still watching film. We're still developing. And I believe that is NBA. That's to our advantage, really. The fact that the makeup of our staff with the week that we're, say up until Thursday, what we're going to face, don't tell the other people, but we have a big advantage in that area.
Phil, when you have a week where you don't get as much practice time or you can't practice as much just because you don't want to drain the guys physically, when you have a young team, how do you make sure the younger guys are getting enough out of a walkthrough or a scouting report if they're
Great question.
not really at the level of an Eli or a Hunter?
That is a great question. But I'll go back to kind of piggyback on Brendan when he was talking about Caleb. That's been a real growth with this team. It's been a growth. And again, it's their position coaches that are working them and getting them to understand. It's hard. It is really hard. It's hard for them to come in tomorrow and say, well, I might not play as much against Michigan State, or I might get called. I don't know exactly when I'm getting called on. So how do I get, and the other factor, and the fact that we're on spring break is actually going to help because they can decompress, during the day. They don't have to be where they have to be on an ordinary academic situation. But it's also a challenge in that it's lonely, right? There's nobody around. And, sometimes you can get by yourself and say, oh man, if I had gotten those opportunities, so that was the message leaving. We came in here together. We were celebrated together on Wednesday night. Well, we're the same, right? We're together. So younger players, you make a great example. Like our older guys and our coaching staff have to continue to work with our younger guys to understand it's about the next day, not about the last day.
Coach is gonna do it.
Thank you. Stay safe.
Thank you.